Have you ever wondered what would happen if you woke up one day and your life was being stolen by someone who looks, acts, and even thinks exactly like you? Well, that is the terrifying reality for a man named Mr. Golyadkin in Fyodor Dostoevsky's novella, The Double. So today, we're going to dive deep into the complete psychological unraveling of a man whose greatest enemy is, quite literally, himself.
No, really, think about it for a second. What would you actually do? Would you be terrified? Curious, maybe? Or would you see an opportunity? Just hang on to that thought, because the answer to that very question is right at the heart of the psychological horror our poor protagonist is about to face.
All right, so our story kicks off on a dreary St. Petersburg morning. Let me introduce you to Yakov Petrovich Golyadkin. He's a minor government clerk, a man so insignificant in the super rigid hierarchy of Tsarist Russia that he's practically invisible. But on this particular day, as he opens his eyes, this feeling of unease just kind of settles over him. And it's a feeling that is going to consume him entirely.
Right from the get-go, Golyadkin is just lost in this fog of uncertainty. Is any of this real, or is he stuck in some kind of dream he can't wake up from? This blurring of the lines. Well, that's the very first crack in his fragile psyche. And believe me, it's a crack that's only going to get wider as the day goes on.
You see, Golyadkin's morning routine isn't really about getting ready for the day. Oh no, it's about building this fortress around his massive insecurities. Every single action, from checking his face for flaws to renting a fancy carriage, is a desperate attempt to project an image of success that he knows, deep down, is a total lie. It's all just one big performance, and the stage is the unforgiving society of St. Petersburg.
And this number here, 750 rubles. To Golyadkin, this is not just a number. It is his shield. In a world where your status is absolutely everything and he feels completely worthless, this little stash of cash is the only real proof he has that he even exists. It's his anchor in a sea of anxiety. But it's an anchor that is about to be ripped away.
But of course, Golyadkin's carefully built little world is about to collide head-on with reality. The moment he steps outside, his fortress of self-deception just starts to crumble. And it all begins with a single, fleeting glance.
A chance encounter with his boss is all it takes to send Golyadkin spiraling down this vortex of paranoia. His mind is just flooded with this irrational fear of being exposed, of his whole illusion shattering right before his eyes. This isn't just social anxiety, folks. This is a complete and total meltdown.
So, completely reeling from this, Golyadkin makes a desperate move. He diverts his carriage to his doctor, looking for a cure for some sickness that doesn't even have a name. But what he finds isn't a diagnosis. It's an even deeper sense of isolation that's just going to push him further and further to the brink.
And what the doctor tells him? Oh, it's a perfect snapshot of a world Golyadkin absolutely cannot comprehend. He's basically being told, be normal, just fit in. But for a man consumed by paranoia, those simple instructions are an impossible task. To him, society is a battlefield, and he feels completely and utterly unarmed. And this is it. This is the moment the dam of his composure finally bursts. His carefully constructed facade just shatters, revealing the raw, terrified man underneath. The paranoia that's been simmering right below the surface, it's boiling over now, consuming him completely. His enemies are no longer just in his head. For him, they're real and they are everywhere.
Okay, so now we get to the night that changes everything. There's a lavish party, a beautiful woman, and our man who is right on the edge of a precipice. Golyadkin in his delusion believes this is his moment to shine. But what's waiting for him isn't a warm welcome. It's more like a public execution of his already fragile ego.
So he arrives, his heart just pounding with this mix of hope and fear. But his dreams are dashed in an instant. It's not possible, sir. Just 5 simple words, but they hit him like a punch to the gut. It's the confirmation of his deepest fear. He doesn't belong. He tries to plead, but it's like talking to a brick wall. The servant, a man of lower status, now holds all the power. And with every single word, the humiliation just gets worse, stripping Golyadkin of his dignity in the most public way you can imagine.
And just when you think it can't get any worse, it does. It's the ultimate nightmare. His colleagues, the very people he desperately wants to impress, are all arriving, and they see his utter degradation. They just glide right past him, into the warm party, leaving him all alone on the cold staircase.
a complete social outcast.
But oh no, Golyadkin's humiliation is far from over. In a final desperate act, he crashes the party, only to become a spectacle of his own making. I mean, this isn't just an awkward party foul. This is the complete and utter annihilation of his public self. And from the ashes of this social death, something truly terrifying is about to be born.
So he gets thrown out right into this raging storm, which is, a pretty perfect mirror for the chaos exploding in his own soul. The wind is howling, the snow is blinding him, and right in the heart of this tempest, his fractured mind is finally going to give way to something new, something terrifying.
He's running, but not really from the party. He's running from the unbearable weight of his own existence. He just wants oblivion, a release from the prison of his own mind. And in this abyss of self-hatred, the universe, in its own cruel way, grants his wish, in the most horrifying way imaginable.
And then, out of all that swirling chaos, a figure emerges. A shadow in the storm, moving with this weirdly familiar gait. And as it gets closer, a cold dread just washes over Golyadkin, a premonition that his life is about to change forever.
At first, maybe it's just a resemblance. But no. This is a perfect, absolutely terrifying reflection. The same clothes, the same posture, the same nervous energy. It's like he's staring into a mirror, but the reflection is walking toward him, a living, breathing version of himself.
And that's the moment. The impossible becomes real. The man in the storm is not a stranger. It is him. It's Golyadkin. His mind, unable to bear the weight of his own failures any longer, has suffered a complete psychotic break, and it's birthed a second self who will soon become his greatest rival.
So you'd think the storm passes and things might get better, right? Nope. The nightmare is actually just getting started. Golyadkin is clinging to this hope that it was all a hallucination, a fever dream brought on by his humiliation. But when he gets to the one place he thought was safe, his office, he finds that his nightmare has followed him.
What happens next is nothing short of a masterclass in psychological torture. The entire world seems to conspire against Golyadkin, treating this completely impossible event as totally normal. His colleagues don't just ignore his terror, they validate the existence of his double, basically erasing the original Golyadkin from his own life.
So, what we're looking at here is the classic doppelgänger, a terrifying symbol of a fractured self. But this isn't just some ghost story, it's a psychological one. The double is everything Golyadkin wishes he could be: confident, charming, and successful. It's his own ambition and his own self-hatred made flesh, and it is here to replace him.
And that leaves us with this really unsettling question that gets to the very core of who we are. If your double is a better version of you in every way, are they the imposter, or are you? It's a question Dostoevsky leaves hanging in the air, a chilling reminder that the line between who we are and who we wish we were is dangerously, dangerously thin.